And we are here, two guys in a chick show. Bonarita.
Hello.
Fine.
Today we've got Aphrodite Jones on the show.
That's right.
Yes, the true crime novelist, reporter.
Extraordinaire.
Extraordinaire, yes.
Yeah, she's a Fox 5 news reporter. She covered the O.J. Simpson trial.
During the time I was covering the trial in Santa Maria in 2005, I really thought he was guilty, and I only looked for salacious things to report like all the other reporters, and that's what I was really required to do.
Right, yeah.
It was the tenor, let's say, and the tone of the entire media out there, 2,400 of us in all credentialed media outside that courthouse every day.
I'm sure.
And being that I had a seat for Fox, I was in the front, every day when Michael pulled up, and I'd always look at him with, slanted eyes. But then I started to get to see the person there and how lonely he was, and how even with all the screaming fans and all the media and everything around him and the umbrella and the whole bit and the bodyguards and the Islam and the whatever, at the end of the day, this guy was alone in the back of an SUV, and he was being prosecuted for something and being called a criminal at it, no less, and that prosecutor was out for blood. I mean, they wanted to put him behind bars for a long time, and if he had gone behind bars, he wouldn't have survived it.
No, I don't think so either.
He wouldn't have survived it, absolutely. But
no. Well, the whole baby dangling thing.
Oh, yeah.
Completely blown out of proportion. I have to say, and that's something that in the Bashir documentary, which ultimately created the criminal trial, because Bashir, brought that kid. Bashir's the one who had the idea, along with Michael, let's bring one of the kids that I helped from an illness and show how I helped this child recuperate and recover. And they picked the cancer victim, and Bashir suggested they bring the cancer victim up to Neverland. It was 2 years later, and he was now cured, and his hair had grown back from the radiation and whatnot. And somebody posed, and I'm told it was Bashir, posed this kid's head on Michael's shoulder. And so Michael's doing the tape showing he wants people to think, he wants people to know, not think, but to know that he's helped children all his life.
Yeah, right.
It's a fact.
Absolutely.
But he thought that Bashir was going to focus on his children's holiday, and he believed it and trusted, a media person who then twisted the tables, and suddenly we have a family of accusers that are saying Michael Jackson molested this cancer patient after the Bashir documentary aired, not before, not during, but after it aired in the UK and the United States.
It's quite the shame. I mean, chances are if they would have asked him for help, he probably would have given it to him.
Oh, yeah.
But he did help them.
I mean, even more. If they wanted money, they probably would have said, I'll help you out.
No. See, when he stopped helping them was after the Bashir documentary aired, when they were hanging around now and looking for what else they can get, because they're being approached by tabloids to tell, something, because this kid appeared in the video, Bashir documentary, holding Michael Jackson's hand, which was set up by Bashir. He suggested that they hold hands.
Right.
And then the whole world starts calling and hounding these people, and they see dollar signs.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So they start to come up with allegations that this kid, this cancer patient, was molested by Jackson while they were hanging around Neverland using his chauffeurs and his eating all his food. He had like a restaurant set up in Neverland at his house. The kitchen was a nonstop 24-hour kitchen, and
I've seen and I transcribed the the outtakes where he talks candidly, and Martin Bashir, of course, didn't include that because he doesn't want Michael Jackson to look like he really was. He had a different agenda, in my opinion. And he gave
here's
him
this guy following him around, and nobody knows why.
Unprecedented access,
right,
for months at Neverland with his kids, and that. Bashir happened to be in Germany when the whole thing with the baby dangling happened. So, of course, he caught that on tape.
There you go. He was probably the one that caught it.
Well,
everybody caught it.
Yeah, because Jackson's standing outside. Yeah. But he was there to catch the aftermath, to hear Jackson say, I would never hurt my baby. And he was questioning, in a way, don't you realize, Michael, that people think you're insane to put your child at risk? And, and Michael's there, I wasn't putting my baby at risk. I would never do that. They just wanted to see. But you don't see that in the final version of the documentary.
Right.
Go to line number 2.
Hello?
Dave, Houston, Texas. How you doing?
Good, fine.
Hey.
How you doing, man?
Oh, yeah, I have a question for Aphrodite.
Yeah.
Sure, go ahead.
Okay, so going to Martin Bashir, on your last radio interview, you mentioned that Bashir told Gavin to hold Michael Jackson's hand and then place his head on his shoulder. I was wondering if you can go into detail with that.
Yes, I can. I was told by two sources that, in fact, when the Arvizo kids were brought to Neverland to do the Bashir interview, they were brought there because Bashir had the idea, well, let's bring a kid on the documentary who you helped. And Michael actually had two kids in mind. One was David. I don't know if you're familiar with this child who was burned alive by his father. The father poured gasoline all over him, and he was burned alive, and to the point that he's almost unrecognizable.
Oh, boy.
I met this child many years ago during the Phil Donahue show, if anybody can remember it that far back. But anyway, one was David, and the other was Gavin Arvizo. And for whatever reason, Bashir chose Gavin Arvizo, the cancer victim, and that's who came up with his siblings. And it was years after Michael had actually helped them with the blood drives and whatever. And they came up, and so Michael hadn't seen these kids in a while and didn't have any kind of real relationship with these kids. He had helped the boy, Gavin, with the cancer, and he'd given them a lot of things here and there, a computer and a car to use and whatever, to help with their financial problems. But at the end of the day, he didn't know these people. So he was told, for the interview, hold hands with Gavin. And, Bashir allegedly was directing this and kind of inched Gavin's head onto Michael Jackson's shoulder. And this, according to Jackson's attorneys, who told me that Michael later said, why is this kid leaning on me? I don't even know how this happened. It wasn't my intention to be, cradling this kid. This was, but he was in the moment with the cameras running, and he didn't want to look like he didn't care about the kid. So, was it set up? From what I understand, absolutely. Would I have any doubt in my mind that Bashir would stoop to that? No doubt in my mind.